Hi everyone and welcome to the 8th episode of Conversations with Steven. My name is Steven Izu. This is the third of 4 episodes in the series Science, Technology and the Future. Today I have with me 2 medical students, and at such we are going to be talking about medicine, health and technology. The first of the 2 people I have with me, her name is Jemima Omorogbe. Jemima is a medical student at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, located in Kumasi, Ghana. Jemima, you are welcome to Conversations with Steven.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. The second person I have with me is he's also a medical student. His name is Emmanuel Emenike Alimama. Emmanuel is a medical student at the University of Oradea, located in Oradea, Romania. Emmanuel, you are welcome to Conversations with Steven.
Pleasure to be here, Steven.
Oh, cool. Okay, we're going to start immediately. As I said earlier, today we are going to talk about medicine, health and technology. And I'm sure we are going to learn a lot. Okay, Ima, I'm going to start with you. What is the field of medicine all about?
Medicine has such a broad scope of explanation, but to narrow it down, medicine can just be defined as a field of health and healing, that is, and includes specific people which have gone through training over the years, including nurses, doctors, various specialists that are very well versed in their fields. It covers diagnosis, it covers treatment, prevention of disease, further medical research, and many other aspects of health that are still yet to be discovered.
Okay, so it is majorly based on the health of individuals all over the world.
Yes, the health and healing of individuals globally.
Okay, that's good. Ima, how do you rate the current system of producing medical personnel at your school? I mean, right now you are in college, so you are learning, you are preparing to become a medical personnel in the future. So how do you rate the current system of education where you are?
The system of education for medical students around the world, the specific span should be about 6 years, and it's the same for us here.
Okay.
During those 6 years, you have the clinical years and you have the learning years, which they go hand in hand together, but they are separate. Like distinctively from the first to the third year, most of your classes are theoretical. You have some labs. Then from the third year to the 6th year, you go to the hospital. You start communicating with your patients, getting a knowledge of what it is to be a real doctor, and so on and so forth.
How is that medical how is that educational system affected by technology?
Well, here in our school, due to the advances of technology, you can see it majorly in the labs that we do, like in the experiments. When you carry out a theoretical aspect of the learning, you go to the labs, and because of the level of technology, it has greatly improved over the past years, and you can see that in testing from blood groups to various other experiments that we can use just to learn as medical students. And this cannot be possible without technology. And this technology, in this day and age, is so common, to say the least, but about 200 years ago, this sort of technology will have been considered witchcraft, so impossible to fathom that this kind of it could be so easy. That's the way technology has improved our way of learning in the medical school.
So it has greatly helped you guys who are medical students.
Yes, it helped us, and it has helped us to further understand the human body, which is basically what medicine is all about. That is human medicine.
Mm, yeah, okay. Wonderful. Okay, Jemima, I'm going to come to you at this point. What
Okay.
can you say? Yeah, yeah. What can you say about the impact of medical technology on medicine and the health of people all over the world? Like, Emmanuel just spoke about how technology helps him as a student in the labs he take um, and tests that he runs as a medical student, and in also other diagnostics. But in your own understanding, what can you say about the impact of medical technology both on medicine and on the health of people all over the world?
Uh, Okay. Um. Basically, generally, we know that technology plays a very important role in almost basically every industry right now, and medicine is not left out. And with medicine, we have improved care and efficiency. We've been able to save more patients and improve their quality of life through the use of technology. Let me be practical and give more examples. Take for instance, right now we have um surgeries which are very, very minimally invasive, and because it's minimally invasive, on a normal day, or I would say in the past, when like patients undergo such surgeries, they have to stay in the hospital for like maybe a week or two trying to recover. But right now, because of the use of technology, we do minimally invasive surgeries, and in a day or two, the patient is up and about. That's just like one example of what the use of technology in medicine. Even our imaging right now, taking of biopsies, samples, it's like on a whole different level compared to, let's say, 20, 30 years ago. We have x-rays, we have ultrasound, we have MRI, we have CT scan, we can take images of the human body, which in the past you can imagine that um for the only way to know what exactly was wrong some time ago was only when the person had died, and then the person is opened up, and like that's the only way to know. But right now we have various imaging modalities. That's another aspect. Also, public health in medicine has been greatly improved. Take for instance, the we already just, or should I say, we are still in the midst of it, experiencing a pandemic, but we can see the effect of technology, like how technology has helped us during this period. Like the information is out there. So far, what doctors have been able to do, put together, the symptoms they experience with their patients, like it's just out there. Everybody has access to it. The results so far are out there. Everybody can just access it, and like it's it's so, I feel like it's a whole lot for me to even talk about. There are many, 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 many aspects of life, or aspects of medicine, sorry, that have been greatly improved by technology. We also have healthcare trackers, wearables, and sensors. Like right now, patients don't even have to come to the hospital and wait in the waiting rooms to see a doctor. Right now they can be in their homes, and their trackers, or their like apps, like basically they are like apps for almost everything. Like people who have hypertension, for instance, take for instance, there are trackers that take record or measurement of their um blood pressure, and after a particular, some of them even send, when it's taken, they are sent to the doctor, and some of them to, after a while, they have to go to the hospital for the doctor to go through the measured readings over a period of time. So this is like a few of what I can say about the impact of technology on medicine. And the one that I'll stress on is I think we've been able to prevent more deaths as a result of technology. That's what I can say. So that's like the impact of technology on medicine.
That's really good. I mean, it's a great idea to have the understanding that me as a human, I have the opportunity to have a more better health care due to technology. Okay, Jemima, you just spoke so much now about the impact of technology, medical technology, on medicine and the health of people. But how does this affect medical personnel all over the world? You spoke majorly on how it affects patients and how it affects medicine and how it affects people. But does this affect medical personnel in any way?
Okay. I'd say it has made us more efficient in offering healthcare. Take for instance, there's something called I would get the name, but
Okay, no problem.
there's something which in the medical school at first, earlier before now, for learning medical students, they had to make use of cadavers, that's like humans, dead people, like cut open, and for us to see the human body. And but there's a type of technology right now that the human body is like a 3D print out of the human body, and like it's simulated, it's like a human. And studies have shown that doctors who have been trained with these devices are better than those who had to use like the cadavers and for learning. So I think with the upcoming doctors, the use of technological devices is making us better. Okay, our practice too is better. Like I spoke earlier on about remote monitoring. Like you can monitor a patient like accurately. Unlike in the past, that let's say if a patient is supposed to come for checkup today, and because of one thing or the other, they are not able to come, or lack of funds for transportation and stuff like that, they are not able to come, we lose out. But right now, because of the use of trackers and sensors, they don't even need to come to the hospital. Like the information or the data you want can be taken right there at home, like with the patient, and then you get it just where you are in the office. So that's another one. Also, like I said about the public health sector, because of more proper and detailed information and data collection, the development of drugs, vaccines is like, it's crazy. Take for instance the time when Ebola was out there, because of how much data collection and information going around the world, the vaccine was produced like in quite a short time, compared to the past where measles and stuff like that was ravaging the world, and it took the amount of time it took to produce vaccines back then and now, like it's different. So that's how it has affected medical personnel and those who are practicing and those who are still learning all over the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jemima. Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel and Jemima. We've just finished talking about the impact of technology on medicine. We're going to go to the second part of this episode. Jemima, why is the access to quality healthcare limited in most parts of the world?
What I think because right now most you see technology is taking over um most of our medical procedures, and technology is involved, and some of these equipments are quite expensive, like a lot of money. And so far, not most countries have not invested so much in medical care. So I would say that's one of the reasons why it's difficult to access quality healthcare. Some of these countries have very good doctors, but they are limited to what they can do as compared to countries where they have most of these equipments. And also, it also depends on the education system, the quality of doctors who are produced from the medical schools. And you can't compare someone who has been properly trained, the output of someone who has been properly trained, to someone who just went through medical school and is merely holding the degree and can do close to nothing. So I think these are two reasons that affect the quality of healthcare in
Okay,
some part of the world.
okay, yeah, okay. Emmanuel, let me ask you. Jemima talked about the why, and Jemima said that the reason why medical care is scarce, is limited in most parts of the world, is majorly one of the reasons is that it's expensive. But why is medical care expensive? Like, why can't, I mean, we are humans, and why can't we just say, okay, let this just be a free thing? Everybody that wants health treatment come for free. Why is it expensive? Why is it so expensive?
Well, it comes down to a lot of things while medical care is expensive. If you think about, first of all, like the drugs that doctors administer, the drugs come from pharmacies. That is, they come from pharmaceutical companies. I mean, that is, and these companies, they are majorly very, very interested in capital. That they will only want majorly money, so to say. So if you consider the drugs coming from there, just the drugs coming from there, the pharmaceutical companies make billions in drugs, just from in billions in manufacturing drugs and in selling drugs. So you can imagine the amount of money that they come about with. And the CEOs of such companies don't want to let go of such capital. This is just the medical aspect. This is just the medicine aspects of it. Then if you go to the other aspects of medical care, in the hospitals, doctors have been trained from schools, and those schools, they charge a lot of money also. Everything always evolves around the capital of the hospital. So those schools combine with the hospitals, you get what I'm saying,
Yes, of
in
course.
order to train doctors. So all that capital required to train the doctors, to run the hospital, and to generally to keep the hospital going and to preserve the patient, life support, oxygen for patients who are, like, for instance, patients who are on life on that need support from this coronavirus, that need ventilators. All those cost money. So, and they cannot just be produced for free. So that brings about the question of why it's so expensive. That's the answer to the question. There's a lot
Wow.
of capital that's derived into making all this equipment. As Jemima also said that even the transmission of information, the satellites. Most hospitals have satellites that um, uh, signal or broadcast information that keep records of the hospital. All this computer-based technology also requires a lot of maintenance, a lot of money. So you cannot just dispense the fact that capital is very important in the field of medicine. That's why the field of medicine is very, very expensive.
Mm. I just learned so much from you right now. Thank you so much for that information. Is there a way of reducing the cost for medical care while keeping its quality high? Like Emmanuel, the question is for you also. Is there a way of reducing the cost for medical care while still keeping its quality high? I mean, of course, you just spoke about capital, and so it's so obvious that it's the fees and the price for medical care is going to be so expensive. But is there a way to at least subsidize the cost a little while still keeping its quality high?
Wow, that's a really tough question, but I don't think there's just one solution. The solution starts with majorly the governments of the countries. Like in the US, a lot of capital is being spent on the medical care system, and there's a lot of fighting about how the system should go. Most families drown in debt for
Hmm.
just medical bills that in some other countries the debt may not be as so high as that. So it comes down to the government of these countries that are willing and able to devise plans to reduce the cost of medicine. To That's even these governments have the power to put in check these pharmaceutical companies that make a lot of capital from producing drugs, selling drugs at higher prices than they produce. They have a big role to play in the in the reduction of costs in the medical facilities. And they can also the government can take most of the cost out of the system. Like I think that's what Obama was trying to do by with Obamacare in the US. Was trying to take most of the cost out of the system of medicine. But the system was still flawed because it still had a long way to go in the process. Um, Maybe the last thing I'll say about this is they can try to move the care closer to the patients. That's basically what I can say about that.
Okay. Dreamer, do you have anything to say about this, like reducing the cost of medical care by keeping its quality high?
Okay, not so much. It's still
Okay.
like what I have to say is about the governments of the various countries. Yeah, they can. Much work lies on them. Like it lies on the government of the country. That's what I.
Okay. Wow. We've come to almost the end. We're entering the final section of this episode. We spoke about the impact of technology on medicine, and just now we spoke about financial cost of healthcare. Finally, I'm going to ask you both these questions, but I'm going to start with Jemima. Jemima, how do you see the medical industry in 5 to 10 years?
Okay. Mostly it will be improvement of what we have now, and then the invention of many complex things that right now I might not even have insight into.
Hmm.
Take for instance, right now I think some of these things are more like, okay, take let me give you, there are science fiction movies that you see things being done in medicine. I think in 5 to 10 years' time, those things will become a reality. For instance, 3D printing. Right now, I think in some part of the world, I think it's been started. 3D printing allows you to, for instance, for individuals who have lost limbs or even body organs. 3D printing allows doctors to get I don't even know how to say some of these things are really, 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 really like it's just mind blowing. But then 3D printing, for instance, like this, it's instead of sitting down to now use plastic to mold prosthetic limbs for patients, 3D printing allows the doctors um to help these patients, and it's way faster. It's faster than what we have in the past. 3D imaging to 3D images to have some images have evolved into 3D, and you can see that it makes it more like you can relate to it. It gives you a 3 dimension. Imagine something in 2 dimension and 3 dimension. In 3 dimension, like it's more real, like if I can put it that way. That's one aspect. Then robotics, the use of robots in medicine. Um right now I think it has also started, but like I said, I know that in 5 to 10 years these things will be improved upon, it will be more common around, and there will be even more crazy far technological advances that I have no insight to right now. Robotics. Um with the way it's going, there are surgeries now that um robots like the doctors just control the robots to do the surgery. Yeah, it's happening. I don't know if it's like real or I don't know if it's real, but I see videos of these things, and I don't know if it has already started. But I know in, like you said, 5 to 10 years time, these things will be like very common around. And there's also robotic exoskeleton. This is for like patients who are crippled, who are paralyzed in their limbs. This exoskeleton is connected to their brain, and it takes impulses from their brain. Like if they want to move their hands, for instance, the impulses received from the brain moves the robot, and the robot is connected to their hand. So like the hand just moves. Like so basically we'll get to a point where nobody will be crippled, nobody will be paralyzed, because we have these robots around which people can have access to. Like I talked about, what the term I wanted to remember earlier some time ago was augmented reality, where I was talking about medical students don't really have to use cadavers nowadays because we have these 3D bodies, like they are made for medical students. You can use it to learn all the anatomy you want without having to work on a real body. And also virtual reality. There's augmented reality and there's virtual reality. Virtual reality, this one, take for instance a woman in labor. Virtual reality can take her to like another, just take her mind off the pain and the stress of the moment. It's some kind of technology. Yeah, virtual reality too is, for example, surgeons can practice a surgical procedure, like a full surgical procedure, using virtual reality without even getting to touch like a live body. There's also artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence, it keeps progressing and progressing and progressing, and I'm sure in 5 to 10 years times it will be really, really, really like the computer or technology will be able to give accurate diagnosis, because right now there are algorithms out there that are able to mine medical records, and then design treatment plans based on like a series of records and data so far, and even create drugs way faster than in the lab or in the pharmacies where um pharmaceutical companies, pardon me, where these drugs are made. So I think in 5 to 10 years times, this is what and much more of what the medical industry will become. Because, yeah.
Oh, okay. Emmanuel, let me just come to you quickly because of our time. Jemima spoke so much about so much about the medical industry, what the medical industry is going to be like in 5 to 10 years from now. Um, but I want to ask you, based on what you said, how do you see the world, not the medical industry now? How do you see the world? How do you see humanity in 5 to 10 years as a result of the improvement in medical technology and medicine?
Well, first of all, as a result of this advancement of all these medical um, technologies and all the drugs and everything, the vaccines, definitely there will be a better state of living for humanity and the environment. That's the first big possibility. But there's also a possibility of, with greater improvements, there come greater threats or diseases. Like, as we can see now, the coronavirus, which keeps all of us at home right now, online classes and all that. With the increase of medical technology and all that, eventually this virus, the vaccines they are already developing vaccines on this virus, and some of them have promising results, some have side effects and all that. But definitely this vaccine, there will be a time where the coronavirus will be a thing of the past. But with that, there also comes the possibility of new viruses, new parasites, new bacteria that have been resistant, that may become resistant to the antibiotics that we currently have. Like, very resilient strain of bacteria and viruses will also emerge with the advancement of this medical technology. Generally, there will be a greater ability to tackle these diseases. Like, with the medical research that is going on, there are more effective ways that we can tackle viruses, we can tackle bacteria without losing a lot of lives that we lost this past year, millions of people, because of the coronavirus. So essentially, the medical aspect of the world will be able to prevent such catastrophes from happening again before it gets to a breaking point. Because if we have a system that is dedicated to improving the well-being of human lives, there will definitely be a rate of faster response to treat human lives and to better the well-being of humans in general. Even as Jemima said, all these advancements in cyborg technology, that prosthetics that can be attached to the human body, basically the human being will be more resilient against diseases and will be more resilient against accidents, will be able to recover faster, more treatments will be available, more different strain of therapies will be available for the humans. In essence, there will be a better future for us if we can advance the medical sector of the world.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Emmanuel and Jemima. We have come a long way. But I'm going to ask you guys just this final question. Emmanuel, I'm going to start with you. You spoke about the possibility of what the world is going to look like 5-10 years from now. But what should young medical students do in view of this? I mean, things are happening, technologies are coming out, new technologies come out every day. So what should your young medical students do in view of this? Should they just sit and just say, okay, that's good, wow, that's good, or should they do something else?
Well, firstly, young people are very inclined to pursue what gets their attention, and the medical field is nothing short of that. A field where it is always changing, always dynamic, always interesting. The young people of this generation now, in the light of all these advancements, we can choose to be a part of this change, to get on board with the fast track moving medical economy, to move and better understand this field of medicine that we all come to know.
Okay.
Young people have a responsibility to tackle this field head on and not shy away. It sounds more easy, it's easier said than done, but I'm sure that the young people of the world are ready for this task.
Jemima, what should young medical students, and also maybe those who are not in medical field, what should they do in view of what we've talked about today?
Okay. So the future of healthcare it's evolving and it's shaping up in front of our very eyes with advances in digital healthcare technologies such as what I've mentioned earlier on, like artificial intelligence, virtual reality, 3D printing, and so on. So my advice to young people out there is that we have to familiarize ourselves with these, like every latest development, in order to be able to control technology. Make sure that you are not left behind. Work hand in hand with technology as a healthcare worker so that you can embrace emerging healthcare technologies and stay relevant in the coming years, because like you cannot just be left behind. You can't be left behind. Imagine that someone dies because you don't know how to, like, this could be something that could have been prevented, something that could be avoided if you made use of a particular technological device, and because of your, should I say in quotes, ignorance, a death occurs. Like that would be really bad. So we should embrace these evolving technologies as they happen, as they okay, embrace and make sure you stay relevant over the years. That's what I can say.
Wow. Thank you so much. Today I learned so much. I'm not a medical student, but I learned so much. And I'm pretty sure, I'm honestly, absolutely 100% sure that anyone listening to this episode also learned so much. Jemima and Emmanuel, thank you so much. It was a wonderful opportunity. It was a wonderful time that we had together. Thank you so much for being guests on Conversations with Stephen.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. If you're listening to this episode, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much for deciding to listen. If you learned something, share this episode with a friend of yours so that they also can learn. And in so doing, we are going to make the world a better place. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity to host this podcast. I'm honestly grateful to God. If you have a question, a suggestion, or a topic you feel we should talk about on this podcast, remember it should be something that relates with young people. Send me an email. Send an email to CWSTEPHEN20@gmail.com. CWSTEPHEN20 at gmail.com. I'm very, very grateful for this wonderful moment. Thank you so much. Bye bye and see you next time.